Hey, what's up, y'all? If you clicked on this video, you're probably struggling on Ame-No-Uzume's fight on difficulty 30. Well, have no fear, because I'm here. And enough yap, y'all. Let's get straight into this guide. Ikaze. Alright, fellas. Let's go ahead and talk about the boss mechanics, starting with the ads. So the ads are just miniature Ames that appear on the field, and they decrease the damage dealt to the main Ame. Plus, their damage is quite weak / insignificant since they only show up in phase 1. Next is Big Boss Ame herself. She's kinda interesting, as in when the ads are on the field, she takes less damage like I said earlier, and she can also apply this skill called Kagura Dancer on you when she attacks. So what is Kagura Dancer? Essentially what it does is once procced on your allies, every Ame on the field will focus target that said ally with the Kagura dance inflicted upon them. Oh, and additionally, every other 2 turns or so, if the Ame ads are still alive, she will absorb them to heal herself. Alright, and before we talk about the strats for phase 1 and 2, I want to talk about some mechanics, starting with the Miko Bell, which is a skill that is procced on your allies in phase 1 that boosts their damage and it decreases their damage taken. Now, this can also be applied on Ame herself in phase 2, but I won't talk about that just yet. And yes, I do want to redial your attention back to Big Ame just for a minute. She has this AoE called Frenzied Dance. It's a very strong AoE, especially in phase 2, because not only does she get Miko Bell on herself, that buffs her damage, she also has this mechanic called Reticent Rejection, where our allies that don't have Kagura Bell inflicted take bonus damage. That's not even the worst part. After 4 turns, y'all, she takes away Kagura Dance, meaning we are now exposed to her full wrath. Plus, since we are in phase 2, she no longer procs Kagura Bell on any of our allies, leading to that additional cancer factor. But don't worry, let's talk about strats now. So, for phase 1, I recommend you stall for 2 turns with your DPS, because even if you target the Ame's ads, or Ame ads, they won't die that easily, and she will just heal back using the Ames as her sacrifice anyway, meaning if you have a 3-turn single target DPS like Sumi, she's perfect for phase 1, or if you aren't using a 2-turn DPS, just guard, or just use some random skill like a physical, a melee on turn 1, and then start your rotation on turn 2, and then on turn 3, you will deal the big PP damage when Big Boss Ame absorbs all the ads, of course. Rinse repeat the stalling for 2 turns and dealing damage on turn 3 over and over until you get to phase 2. Oh, and don't worry about sustaining here, since the boss and the ads hit like wet noodles, thanks to Miko Bell being procced on us in phase 1. However, in phase 2, ooh boy. So in phase 2, she despawns all the Ames, of course, and now she will start casting stuff like Reticent Rejection, Miko Bell on herself, and she takes away Kagura Dancer on your allies on her 4th turn, meaning her damage now has just skyrocketed, and you can't cheese the fight with Kagura Dance to take less damage now. But don't worry, that's why I will show y'all what to bring for Guardian / Medic units and Wonder Sustained Personas in a bit, of course. Because all you will do in phase 2 is just do damage, then next turn heal up or proc your shields every other turn, depending on what sustain you bought in. You will keep doing this until eventually the boss is dead. Now, if you bring Miku, you will have those extra turns of breathing room, plus some sustain from Heaven S2, so I do highly recommend her for this fight. But if you don't have her, it's fine, just keep using your sustains to keep you alive. And yeah, without further ado, fellas, let's go ahead and show you my team comp and team comp recommendations for y'all. Ikaze. Okay, fellas, so I'll go ahead and offer y'all some replacements for this team if need be. starting off with probably what a lot of people are going to ask me. Is this team worth running at low awareness Ryuji? The answer is hell no. Capital no. Okay, the only time I recommend you run this team is if you have A4 Ryuji and up. A2, A0, forget about it. You're going to bald for days. Like, I'm already balding at A7 Ryuji, if that tells you anything. Because the problem with this team is you're trying to manage Ryuji's HP at a low threshold for him to do real damage while trying to not let the rest of your team die. So yeah, that's the problem with this team. So I don't really recommend this team. What I do recommend will be these other options, starting with the assassins. So like the assassins, you can run something like, you know, Sumi, Violet, Makoto Yuki, Queen, Mesa, Frostgale, heck, even Fleuret works. The only assassins I don't recommend is obviously stuff like Sumi, not Violet Sumi. I'm talking about what's his name? Curse dude. Yeah, I forgot what his name was. Okay, I'm sorry. Yui. God no. Yui's basically like Ryuji, where she takes 3,000 years but just does the less damage than him. Okay, unless you're like A6, but I'm not too sure about A6 Yui, y'all. I'm gonna be real. Yui, not recommended. Don't try it. And 4-star Mon, yeah, don't do that. So yeah, TLDR for your assassin replacements, you run, you know, Violet. You can do Frostgale, Makoto Nijima, Mesa, Fleuret, right, etc. Now, the most asked question is probably going to be, hey, Gold, who do you recommend as my main guardian or a medic? So, obviously, the most basic bitch answer is going to be, okay, run medic guardian twins at A1 or A0, and there you go, peepo comfy business. But let's say, for example, you don't have twins, so what do you run then? The answer is Cherish. Cherish is actually pretty good. He recently came to the standard banner. Gives a lot of shields and defensive procs. He's basically just better Soy. Think about it that way. The second option, obviously, would be something like a Summer Moko, who's just, you know, an overall like medic that can heal you, can buff you. She's pretty good. Or if you want something a little bit more comfier in the healing department, that belongs to Marion. Marion is really good at just healing you every turn. You won't die with that character. She helps you live no matter what. So TLDR for the medic side, if you're not running Guardian Medic Twins, then I suppose run Cherish or Minami, or, you know, worst case scenario being Summer Moko. Or if you want a more free-to-play alternative to running Sustain, you can run double Sustain with like Minami and like Soy. Problem with that is you're going to be running a DPS without their best in slots. So yeah, just think about it hard, y'all. Now let's talk about our strategist for placements. Now obviously, if I were to give you a strategist for placement, I'll just give you the basic bitch answer again. It's going to be twins using their strategist form. Now, if you do that, you can't run Guardian Medic Twins. So if that's the case, you just basically have Wonder as your healer, or Miku can heal with Heaven S2 at certain points in her rotations. So yeah, do keep that in mind. As for the Wonder Persona replacements, what you can do is, instead of Sandalphon, since I know a lot of people aren't gonna use SOS medals on this guy, but he's quite worth it. I would recommend you pick him up. You run something like a Norn. Norn gives you defense shreds, right, with his passive, and he has Wind Barrier and a shield highlight that can help you sustain yourself quite easily, y'all. So he is your Sandalphon replacement. As for Dionysus, there is no Dionysus replacement. Stop bricking your account, run Dionysus. I'm kidding. Something like Komokten, you know, can work if you're like low budget supporting. Vishnu, there really isn't a Vishnu replacement, let's be real. So you're on your own there. But TLDR, Vishnu is just like a defense shred persona. So you know, if you have any other like single target defense shred persona, he can work. Or just inherit Rakunda on any said persona, like anything you want. I recommend something like Neon Show, right? Is pretty good for single target debuffing. You know, even Yanoshik with his mark is pretty good too. So do keep that in mind. And yeah, without further ado, boys, I'll go ahead and show you my main setup for the Ryuji team. Ikaze. Alright, boys, I'll go ahead and show you the rev cards and the mindscapes for this team that I ran today. So for Ryuji, you're going to want the meditation and courage sets. Here is his mindscape. Next is our main support buffer, being Leon, using creation reconciliation. Here is his mindscape. Next is going to be our main guardian / pseudo debuffer, being Soy. He's going to be running departure and control. Here is his mindscape. As for our Navi, Migu Dayo. Oh my god, it's Migu! Okay, sorry y'all. I apologize. She's going to be running hope and labor. Here is her mindscape. And lastly, let's go ahead and talk about Wonder himself. So for the Wonder Dagger, if you don't cap out on defense reduction, R6 Arc Knife is the way to go. If you do cap, you can do something like R6 Ex Machina, or even better, R6 Eye of whatever the heck that dagger is called, okay? The physical dagger. As for Wonder Personas, you're going to be running Dionysus with Tarukaja and Tarukaja, as Ryuji guarantees crits regardless of what you do, as long as his HP is under 70% threshold. So you do not need to buff him with Rebellion or Revolution at all. Okay, Vishnu is here for his shreds using Wind of Nirvana. Next is Sandalphon. Sandalphon is going to be our main sustains persona using his Devoted Guard. You can also inherit something like a Media or Meteoron as well, in case you don't want to use Wonder's HP to use Devoted Guard, as this skill does take HP. And yeah, without further ado, boys, let's get straight into the run. Ikaze. Okay, fellas, so I guess I'll go ahead and start off with this fight telling y'all about what each party member does. So obviously, Shun is going to be our main debuffer. He can sustain a little bit with S3, but he's mainly there to inflict shreds to help out with Ryuji's damage. Next is Wonder. Wonder is kind of like a jack of all trades character, meaning he can do anything. He can buff, he can debuff, he can sustain. Whatever you need him to be in the moment, he can help. Next is Leon, who's going to be our dedicated buffer. He's just going to be buffing Ryuji's crit damage and overall attack as a whole. As for Ryuji, well, he's basically just our S3 botter. He's the one dealing the real damage. To remind you guys how to approach this fight, like I said, you just want to stall for the first 2 turns, and then the 3rd turn, when Ame absorbs the adds, you do the real damage. So in other words, with the Ryuji team, right, I basically just guard on the first turn, or do like a melee, and then on turn 2, I start his actual rotation. And the neat part is about this fight is every time you do like a highlight or a theurgy, you get Miko Bell. So in this case, you always want to time, your biggest DPS highlight with their biggest rotation on Ame's 3rd turn every so often, so you can do the most amount of damage you can whenever she absorbs the adds. And remember, y'all, in phase 1, the adds and Big Boss Ame herself do like legit no damage, since we all have Kagura Dancer most of the time with our squad mates, and Ryuji himself, since he's your main DPS, probably has Miko Bell, so you'll kill this boss a lot quicker than they'll actually do real damage to you. But if for some weird reason you do have to sustain, there always is Soy S3 and his highlight, or you can just use Wonder with Sandalphon S1. You can even heal up with a Media. So yeah, there's that if you need sustain. Oh, and of course, I can't mention sustain without mentioning Miku S2 with Heaven. That can also heal you a good amount, but don't rely on that too much. especially since you're running the Ryuji team. If you prioritize healing too much, he's gonna do like no damage. So it's about balancing when to keep Ryuji under low HP, and when you have that off turn of God Hand Burst to heal up everyone. So just manage your HP properly, y'all, and you can easily win this fight. So yeah, TLDR is just make sure you do real damage every other third turn. Make sure you don't prioritize sustaining too much. You should be prioritizing having all your buffs aligned on that third turn to do the most amount of damage you possibly can. The only time we'll worry about sustaining is once we get to phase 2. But yeah, anyways, y'all, enough of me yapping. Enjoy the rest of phase 1, and I'll talk to y'all once we get into phase 2. Okay, boys, welcome to phase 2. So you're probably asking me, why did I delay Miku S3 for as long as I did? Well, for one, Ryuji is a glass cannon. This guy folds under pressure, especially in phase 2. So I wanted to save S3 to get a big head start as much as I can, you know, to get as many like procs of buffs and debuffs I can before, you know, Ame starts attacking me, so that I can get a little bit of damage in, and at the same time protecting Ryuji from her, you know, big damage. Because the problem with Ame in this phase is not only does she have damage reduction, she also increases her own damage. So don't be surprised if your DPS just does a little bit worse damage-wise in this phase than they did in phase 1. But don't worry, if you're running like the modern premium DPSs at A0, you should be able to clear this easily. Or if your Ryuji is like A4 and above in terms of awareness, it should be a pretty, you know, consistent clear for you. As for the game plan for this phase, it's a lot more simpler than what phase 1 looked like, because, you know, I had to teach y'all how to stall and how to, you know, properly align your damage with like turn 3. But here, all you can do is just, you do damage, you heal. You do damage, you heal. You have to heal every turn. As soon as Miku's S3 like extra turn procs are over, you have to consistently heal or proc some sort of shields in order to not die, because her AoE attack with her bonus damage that she gets from her skills, Ame hits really hard. So if you're not sustaining every other turn, you will die. Especially with this team, you know, low HP values being 4 stars and Ryuji being the glass cannon he is, you have to proc shields or heal every turn. Every turn. No excuses. The only time that you can get away without healing is, let's say, you do like a Sandalphon highlight, because Sandalphon's highlight gives you a big shield. A big shield. And you wouldn't have to heal that turn. But yeah, good luck, y'all, because this portion of the fight is pretty difficult, and you're going to need all the sustain that you have in store. Oh, and another thing I did forget to mention, since phase 2, there's no, like, you know, Ame ads anymore. You don't stall at all. You just do your normal rotations, you know, so that you can maximize your damage as fast as you can. You don't want to stall like that. Especially if you're using Miku S3, where, you know, her buffs last for a very long time even after you proc them. You just do your normal rotations without having to rely on a 3-turn setup, right? Even if you are like a 2-turn DPS, just you know, do your 2 turns of rotations and still get your damage in. And to remind you guys what sustain options, you know, this team does have, obviously, you have something like a Sandalphon skill 1 that casts as a shield. You have Sandalphon highlight. You can use Soy S3 to proc a heal and some defense procs. His highlight gives you max HP. You can also rely on something like a Dionysus Meteor around here, like what I have. Obviously target Ryuji, so he gets the crit damage from Dionysus passive, right? So there's a ton of things you can do to keep your party alive. Heck, you can even use something like Miku S2 with the Heaven track, and that heals you not to full heal, but it gives you a decent heal. But okay, yeah, good luck with the rest of the run, y'all. I'll talk to y'all in a bit. And yes, fellas, you can indeed get a second Miku S3 in this fight, maybe even 3 if you don't stall like me, right? Because it's based off of 6 Wonder Turns, and you know, this fight was meant for Miku because Ame hits really freaking hard, man. Really hard. So this can definitely get you some more breathing room. Of course, since you aren't using Miku S3, like I said, your buffs and debuffs will remain a little bit longer than usual. But yeah, there really isn't anything else to say other than just keep on doing what you've been doing. Keep sustaining every turn. Keep doing your, you know, damage rotations. No stalling. You know, make sure you're playing it safe. Healing whenever you need to. Like, even if you have to brick Ryuji's damage, it's better to live than to have a dead run, y'all. But okay, I'll talk to y'all once we get to the very end of this run. Alright, so you see what I mean, fellas? That right there is the definition of being greedy, right? You definitely don't want to do that. What I should have done there was obviously sustain up with like Wonder Sandalphon S1 or like a Soy S3, even though it would had bricked my Ryuji's damage with Soy. Healing like that, I would have been alive and I would have gotten some extra more, you know, turns with the whole squad, right? Because remember, the turn limit is 120. So I kind of got a little bit greedy, but at the end of the day, I did get the clear. And hopefully, you know, this guide so far has helped y'all out because, my God, this team took so many runs to get the clear on this fight. Like, Jesus, like, super bald fight, y'all. I hope you learned a thing or two from this. And yeah, there you go, fellas. G freaking G's. And there you go, boys. That's the guide. If you do have any further questions, y'all, leave it down in the comments below, and I'll get to you as soon as I possibly can. And if you really enjoyed this guide, consider leaving a like, maybe subbing. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, y'all. My goal is to reach 1,000 subs by the end of this year. You know, that would make me very happy if you press that sub button, y'all. And other than that, do look forward to future guides and future video essays. I enjoy making content for this game a ton. And, you know, I'm cooking, y'all. So just give me some time and you'll see some banger videos. And until the next one, y'all, deuces.